Hey, welcome to World Entertainment, and this is going to be our full review, non-spoiler. I'll try and keep it as spoiler-free as possible for Spider-Noir, which, hands down, is fantastic. And I think Amazon are going to be kicking themselves for releasing the whole thing in one go. They just dumped it all. Not just did they dump it all, they didn't even announce that they did it. It dropped on like Tuesday. It was Tuesday or Wednesday, and I only found out that it came out on Thursday. So, yeah, that was quite bad on their hands, especially seeing they've got an absolute winner with this show. It is fantastic. Now, here's the crazy thing. The performances. Normally, in even shows you absolutely love, there's usually that one performance that you go, oh, you know, everything about it is great except that one little performance from that person over there. Every single performance in this is fantastic. Even from the kid. There's a kid in it. Now, he's not a major part of it or anything. He's only in a few episodes, but the character of Ben Reilly, who is Spider. And that's the thing as well. He's not Spider-Man. He's called the Spider. He uses him for jobs here and there. But even the kid was great. It was unbelievable that an entire cast, every one of them nailed it. Brendan Gleeson is the villain in it, or at least the main villain. I don't recall seeing him in the trailer for this, which was a surprise when he comes in. He plays the villain called Silverman. The first time they said it, I thought they said Superman. I was like, Superman? What? What are you talking about? No, it's Silverman. And what's great about it as well is he gets to use his Irish accent. Now, he does more of the inner city of Dublin, inner city accent. So he's kind of exaggerating his own accent a little bit more. So he doesn't really sound like that. His accent's not that harsh. And that's not just coming from interviews. I've actually met the man a bunch of times. I used to actually do door work. And the local bar we worked in, he was a regular customer in it. Because he lived in the town I'm from as well. So he only lived over the hill. And every Thursday, it providing he wasn't working, he would come down to the bar and he actually played traditional music with a bunch of his friends. Every Thursday, if he was there. And his two younger sons worked in the bar as well. Breen, who most of you would know as Brian, but his name is actually Breen, even though it's spelt Brian, who's been in a bunch of movies with him. He's been in Assassin's Creed. I think he was like in heavy makeup in that, is it The Last Witch Hunter? The Vin Diesel one? He was a barman in it. He was a server, like behind the bar. And his younger brother, Rory, was actually like a server out on the floor. So they were all there all the time. Great fun. They're all very nice. Brendan Gleeson, very nice man. So easy to talk to. A nightmare to get out of the bar. You know, the bar was closing one Thursday. And like I struggled to get him out. He just wanted to talk to everybody. He was like, Brendan, will you get the fuck out, dude? I want to drink myself. But he is fantastic in it as well. And he's not one of these typical type of villains. It's an old school villain where you're actually watching the villain interact a lot with your hero. And just the way it's done is fantastic. But the whole show, now as you can see, it's in black and white, but you can watch it in colour. I didn't watch it in colour. I watched it in black and white. I will go back and watch it in colour, but I have seen people saying they watched like the first episode in black and white and then they watched the second episode in colour to get like the different contrast of it. And they said it works so much better in black and white because the colour, they seem to think it like dulls it down, oddly enough. But overall, the show is out and it is fantastic. So there's 8 episodes altogether. And the structure of the stories is fantastic. Now, I don't actually know what age rating this is. Because it's a little confusing. Because there's elements of it that would make you think it's an R-rated thing, but everything else seems to be kind of leaning towards the PG-13. I don't actually know which one it is, because there's a lot of language in it. There's no F-bombs or anything, but there's still a lot of language in it. There's a lot of smoking and drinking, which a lot of people appreciate because it's set in the 1930s. But it's hysterically funny as well. Like, purposely. It's not like, oh, it's funny because it's so bad. No. The jokes they use and the way Nick Cage delivers the lines, it's fucking hysterical. Especially, I think it's episode 7, when someone discovers her, he lets them know that he's the Spider. And when they show you how he used to tell this person, it's fucking hysterical. Because it always seems to happen when he's drunk, and it is so funny. It's the funniest scene, even though there are multiple funny scenes. But that moment was a standout. But it's also, it can get quite emotional. Like, there are very big emotional beats towards it as well. But then, when it's violent, it's violent. Like, there is, like, a lot of blood. Now, in black and white, I suppose it's not as violent or as gratuitous, but I'd say in colour, it is quite in your face. It's also quite unsettling at times. There are, like, real creepy moments. So, the overall story is, Ben Reilly is the private detective, and he hasn't been the Spider for 5 years. Because of a tragedy that happened that he couldn't stop. So he hung up the idea of being the Spider, because in his eyes, and the way he looks at it, the woman he loved told him once, and it was this girl named Ruby who told him once, with great power comes great responsibility. But after the loss of her, he decides without great power comes no responsibility. So he tries to be human again. And that's important when he says all he's doing is trying to be human again. Because you're kind of like, well, what do you mean trying to be human? And it makes complete sense later on in the series when it explains and shows you exactly what he means. So there's other people who start showing up with superpowers. But the more they use their superpowers, the more something is actually happening to them. But they're all connected in one way. Now, the 3 other superheroes that show up, well, they're not superheroes, they're superpowered villains, is Sandman, who is known as Sandman. Then you get Electro, but Electro isn't called Electro in this. He does give himself a name, but I can't remember what he called himself. It is something to do with electricity, I just can't remember what it was he called himself. But he's not referred to as Electro. But then we have this other one, who the character's name is Lonnie, who's this giant black dude played by Abraham Popula, I think is how you pronounce his name. They don't give him a character name, like his super villain character name. And I can't place who and what he is. He seems to be quite bulletproof and invulnerable with super strength, but he kind of mutates. You know, he gets all these ridges on his head and his arms and stuff. So they never mention it. Like, I don't know Spider-Noir all that well. Like, my only real introduction was Nick Cage as Ben Reilly in the Spider-Verse movie. And that is referenced at the very beginning of this. His first line of dialogue is, I was once asked what universe I'm from, and I didn't understand what that means. So that's the only kind of reference to that. At least I'm assuming it's a reference to that. But there's lots of little twists and turns where you think you figured out where the story's going, and it completely flips on you. And it's fantastic way it does it, because it's not like mystery boxes or anything like that. it's setting one particular main thing up, but where you think you figured all the other elements out, it turns and twists on you, and it really catches you out, and you're like, oh, that was very smart how they did that. Again, Brendan Gleeson was fantastic, and he has like real world reactions to a lot of the stuff that happens around him. Like when he gets introduced to Electro does one particular thing, and as they're walking out, he's just standing there, he's just like, that was weird. And it's like, that would be your reaction to seeing a lot of this stuff. And it really does just stand out as just this fantastic series. Like, how well it's done, how well it's put together, how well everybody nails their roles. Like, you think there's two characters that you think, oh, these just DI hires. Like, his secretary, Janet, who seems to be a bit of an obese woman. Like, she's not massive, but she's not small. And Robbie Robertson, who's a black reporter, who I believe in the comic of Spider-Noir is black anyway. You think, are they just being shoveled in there as the... No, they're really not. They're actually vital to Ben's overall story and stuff. And not just that, but they're great and incredibly likable. Especially Robbie Robertson. He's incredibly likable. Which is saying something, because normally you get all of these things and you're like, are they just kind of doing this crap where it's just like, oh, these people are just being shoveled in there for the sake of being shoveled in there. As like, no, they actually serve a purpose. And the purpose is great. And the way it's done and how they react is great. Now, there is one element with Robbie Robertson that I'm still a little confused about. His name is Robbie Robertson. And yet, when he gets his old job back in the Bugle or whatever it was, he's not... His name tag isn't Robbie Robertson, it's Joey Robertson. That's like, who's Joey? Like, is that a joke that I'm just not getting? Like, I was a little confused about that. DS9 fans, you're gonna have a great time as well, because Andrew Robinson is in this, aka Garrick. He shows up for a couple of episodes. I actually didn't recognize him at first, and it was one of the doctor characters was talking to him, and I kind of took a step back and went, wait a minute, is that Garrick? And then once he started talking, I was like, it is Garrick. So that was a cool little addition in there as well. He's not a major part in the show, but he's in there, and even he stands out as a great character with an interesting story to him. And they all have interesting stories. So Ben is like hired to follow Cat Hardy, and it's during that he starts realizing there's a lot more to what's going on, and he comes across things which really is starting to force him back out of retirement to become the Spider again. Now, he's not always the Spider, he's not always in the suit, and it works. Like, there's a moment where he's following her, and she goes into a hotel, and he sees that she goes to the penthouse, which is the top floor. And he walks out of the building, and he looks up, and he just goes, oh, and starts walking up the fire escape. And he's absolutely destroyed by the time he gets to the top. There's also a hysterical scene as he's going up. But you realize he really is trying to just be as normal human. Like, he's got the power. He could just, zip himself up there with the spider powers, and he doesn't. He does not want to use them. And when he gets his spidey senses, the way that works is great as well, because it's like he gets a headache, and everyone thinks he's getting a severe headache, and it does seem to be painful for him when that happens. Now, the one thing that is interesting as well is how he actually gets his powers. Because, is he bitten by a spider? Technically, he is, but it's also incredibly creepy and weird how he actually gets his powers. But overall, there's not much else I can really say that wouldn't be spoiling the show. Just The performances are fantastic. Nick Cage is absolutely fantastic. Who knew the Spider-Man we all needed in our life was Nick Cage? But that's exactly what we got. And that's exactly what we have. So I highly recommend this. And if you're going to watch it in black and white first, at least. It definitely seems like it's going to work a lot better in black and white. And because that's the way it's meant to be seen anyway. That's why it's a Spider-Noir, is he is meant to be in black and white. But it's hysterically funny. It's fantastically acted. Everybody is likable and has a fantastic performance. Can't knock any performance in this show. Highly, highly recommend it. So if you've seen it, let me know what you think of it. If you've watched it only in colour, what do you think of it in colour? Let me know what all this is. And of course, if you've watched it in colour, do you intend to watch it back in black and white? And vice versa, if you've watched it in black and white, do you tend to watch it in colour? Still think it's a massive mistake that they dropped it all in one go. So shame on you, Amazon. And of course, the problem is, if they do a season 2, will Amazon see that they have a massive hit in their hand and go, you know what, they really love it, now we should be involved with it and promote the hell out of it, and they'll probably destroy it. But who knows? But overall, fantastic show. Highly recommend. I shall leave it there for this one. So do like and share and subscribe and all that good stuff. Cheers, and I'll catch you in the next one.